welcome to my I Know What You Did Last Summer video series, which is just going to be 2 videos. Maybe 3. I might decide to rank the episodes of the show, but for now, this ranking will be the 3 movies versus the 1 season of television. And, spoiler alert, this is not one of my top favorite franchises of all time. It just isn't. And you will discover that by the end of this ranking, that my opinion on these movies is a lot lower than most people's. So if that's gonna piss you off, maybe this isn't the ranking for you, but we'll see how that goes. And coming in dead last, 4th place, obviously, no one's putting anything else here. I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. I was like 15, I think, and I went to stay with my dad in this place for a while, and miles from town. So there was just some DVDs there that I could watch. And that... Wait, I think there was internet. Anyway, that is how I found I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. Because it was there. And I happened to also watch the second one around that time, I think. But, anyway, this movie's fucking trash. And coming in at 4th place, no competition here. Everyone's putting it there. Like, no one would put anything below this. I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. Now, oh god, it's so bad. I recently recorded a commentary on every movie and the whole show, which will be on my Spotify after I'm done with the franchise I'm on right now, and I post a few other ones that I pre-recorded. Anyway, the Spotify is Cyrus Watches Movies. Right now I'm in the middle of Freddy and Jason. And eventually the commentaries I recorded for these will be out. And in the third one, because I knew I fucking hated it, I was like, alright, I'm gonna take a drink every time I hate the movie while I'm watching it. And as you can imagine, that didn't go well. Like, a half hour into the movie, I was, like, holding back throwing up and in physical pain. So I had to go to smoking a hit with dab and tobacco every time I hated the movie. And you can hear me make that decision through the commentary. It's really funny. But, the point is this movie's so bad that if you try to play a drinking game where you take a drink every time and you hate it, you don't finish the movie before you have to stop drinking. Like, that's how bad this movie is. They take Ben Willis and they make him fucking supernatural. They make him like a ghost, which, why the fuck did you do that? This has been a completely grounded franchise before that and even after that, so none of that made any fucking sense. The characters are all trash, and characters were never the strong suit of the franchise, at least up to this point. But damn, like, fuck, I'd hang out with Barry all day before I hung out with the characters from the fucking third movie. And if you don't know who Barry is, he's the douchebag from the first movie. Anywho, yeah, the third movie's fucking bad. It takes 48 minutes for there to be anything interesting happening, and then it just kind of just happens, but it's just such a drag to get through. I probably won't rewatch this movie ever, and that is saying something. Coming in at 3rd place, spoilers for the TV series. Yeah, I Know You Did Last Summer, the show, comes in 3rd, and I never expected it to be worse than the 3rd movie. Honestly, I was 7 episodes in, thinking this is gonna be better than any of the movies. And then episode 8 happened. Now again, if you haven't seen the show, I'm gonna spoil the fuck out of it right now, so don't watch or skip forward until I'm talking about the 2nd place. But Yeah, I know what you did last summer, the show. I don't have a problem with Margot being the killer. I have a problem with, oh god, I'm getting mad thinking about it. If you are still listening because you're not gonna watch the show and you haven't seen it, the ending is fucking dog shit. And honestly, I think that you should all watch it before you hear me talk about it. I already told you who the killer was, so I might as well continue. But like, Margot, the whole story of the reboot show, from the get go, I was like, if they fuck up the killer in the end, they're gonna fuck up this whole season. Because they don't run over Ben Willis. They run over Lennon, who is the twin sister of the main chick. And so then the whole series is like a whodunit for the first time since like the first movie. And the ending was fine until the last few seconds because you think it's Dylan, but it turns out to be Margot. And it's a good twist. I like the way she plays the killer, but at this point I hated the character already because of how snooty and always getting her way and rich she was. And so I didn't want it to end with her getting away with it. But if it did, it did. The way they get the way it happens though is so fucking infuriating that I literally flipped out in the end of the commentary and said fuck you if you like the ending. I don't feel that way now. But I am going to still post that commentary because I'm not going to re-record another one. Because that was a reaction commentary. Margot stabs Allison and is gonna fucking kill her because Allison takes the place of Lennon, and when she kills Lennon, and then Margot's upset like about that, but then they fall in love or some shit. I don't know, but all I know is that Margot stabs Allison. Dylan runs in to get help. The cops show up, and Dylan and Margot are like got their hands up and shit, both pointing fingers at each other. And Allison, who was just fucking stabbed by Margot, tells the cops that Dylan's the killer. What? You went from better than any of the movies to this low in the ranking that quickly. It makes me hate Allison. And like what the fuck? You take like it makes every character that's left except Dylan and the dad hateable. And Dylan was already like he was like a really I thought he was the killer for a while. So he already was like I already distanced myself from him, you know? And then you get to the ending and the only people I care about are Allison and her dad. And then Allison pulls that shit right when Dylan redeems himself, right when you find out he's not the killer. And she sides with the fucking killer. It pisses me off so fucking much. She literally ruined his life to be with someone who was just about to kill her. Like, honestly, do not comment defending that ending, because I won't read it. No, I'm going to say some nice things about that show, because I did think, up until that point, that the show was better than the movies. I love the characters up until that point, and I love the acting. I love the gore. I thought that they were actually doing a really good job of like making these characters seem like present day characters, but not ridiculous and caricatures. They seemed more grounded than that. There was some problems I had with just some logical things, but like I don't know. I thought that the show was great up until they fucked it up at the end there. Like, honestly, if they didn't fuck up the ending, it would be easily the best and easily the most rewatchable. I do recommend the show, but that ending, I literally was pissed for half an hour after I watched that ending. So, Yeah, the ending pissed me off more than anything in the third movie pissed me off, but the show's actually good, and 7 out of 8 episodes being great, it still beats the third movie. But yeah, that ending fucking pissed me off. Moving on, our top two, and this is where most people would say it's obvious, there's no comparison, and while I agree, it's not the same ranking because my number two is the original I Know What You Did Last Summer. And for anyone who didn't just click off the video, the reasoning is because I think that it's just fine. It's a mediocre late 90s slasher that's trying to be too much like Scream. Scream works for a lot of reasons. The reasons that movies that were trying to be like Scream, like the things they're doing to try and be like Scream, are not the things that made Scream good. You know what I mean? Like trying to do like less sex and tits and less bloody kills and like one of the things I can take away from I Know You Did Last Summer, I know they stole from Scream, is the whole like the tension and like the who done it, but is it gonna be Ray who's the killer? But it's not, obviously. I don't know. It's just it seems like a mediocre late '90s slasher that has just been way overhyped. Like there's decent premises here, but like most of what happens is just stalking. Like he has 4 characters he's trying to kill, and he spends most of the movie just following them around, being in situations he could easily kill them in, like cutting off Sarah Michelle Gellar's hair and like putting Max's body in her trunk and then just getting it while she was gone, like really quickly. I don't know. It's not that good of a movie. And then you have that cheesy ass ending too. I love the when you kill someone, make sure they're really dead, and then they attack him, cut off his hand, and leave him for dead in the ocean again. Like he just told you, the moral of the story: if you kill someone, make sure they're really dead, and then you immediately did the opposite again. I don't know. I laugh my ass off at that. I love Sarah Michelle Gellar, but none of the characters are really that likable. You can't really attach to any of them. Ray's good, but he's not in enough of the movie comparatively. Barry's a douche. Sarah Michelle Gellar is playing like not the best character right now, but I still love her just because she's Daphne and Buffy, because I grew up on that. But and then you got Jennifer Love Hewitt, and I think that she's a good actress, but there's like there's not a lot that the character does in the movie to make me attached to her at all. Like I don't know, they're just the characters aren't that great. And the kills, there's only like a couple that I really like, but a lot of them are just like mainly off screen and not that bloody. And like Sarah Michelle Gellar's kill, I hear people talk about that all the time, but like it's not a good kill. She's like right next to a bunch of people that she could have easily just walked into that crowd. Then he pops up and she's just right into these tires, and all you see is like just him doing this. You know, you don't see blood, you don't see the hook go in, and like I don't know. There's just a lot about this movie that's just fine. It's just a fine movie. You know, you can just pop it in, have an okay time, but it's not like Scream or fucking even it's not like Wishmaster 1. It's not a 90s staple to me. To me, it's just another B slasher movie, and it happened to get some sleek sequels. I don't know. Might be a little harsh, but again, I don't hate this movie. I did just sit through all of them and record commentaries for them like last month, so I own them. But yeah, I don't think that this movie's a classic. And that brings me to my number one. Also not a classic, but I still Know What You Did Last Summer. Infinitely funner. Infinitely funner. the killer's actually doing stuff for the whole movie. We're like killing people. Uh, the characters are funner. Ray has much more development, even though he's not part of the main storyline at all. And you could really you could cut Ray's storyline out completely, and it wouldn't change the movie at all. But I enjoy his subplot actually. Um, I think that Julie gets a lot more to work with this time around, even though I don't like Will. That whole shit with Will, it's just cringy. It's like he's so obviously the killer, and yet so just I don't know the right way to describe him, but he's just like a doofus. I don't know. But I like the other characters. I love that Jack Black's in this. I don't get why people hate that Jack Black's in this, but I don't know. I grew up with Jack Black. Whenever he's on screen, to me, it's the best part of this franchise. At least the best part of the fucking movies. I don't know. I love a lot about this movie. I love how stupid this movie is. Because the entire premise does not work. It just doesn't make sense. But at the same time, I'm not that big of a fan of the first movie. So I'm not like upset at this sudden shift in realisticness because honestly the first movie is pretty fucking dumb too. But I love how stupid the second movie is. It's such a fun, dumb slasher. You just like I have the most fun with the second movie. I don't know. There's more kills. There's more fun. It's not just melodramatic the whole time, and the characters, unlike every other installment, the main characters don't do something awful and then a year later pay for it. Only Ray and Julie have carried that from the first movie, but they're more likable in this one to me. And the other characters haven't done anything that heinous like the characters in the first movie did, or the characters in the third movie did, or the characters in the show did. I don't know. It just kind of makes them more likable. I don't. I might be in the minority. Well, I know for a fact I'm in the minority here, but yeah, that's my I know what you did last summer ranking. You can let me know yours in the comments below. Again, please don't defend the ending to that TV show. Everything else about it, I'm glad to talk about, but everything else about all of these, I'll talk about. But that ending, yeah, let me know and like, subscribe, and all that bullshit.